Hi, intrepid viewers. A big shout out to you guys all the way from Australia. It's still midwinter here. Wasn't that an old Gil Scott-Heron song, Winter in America? Well, yes. The temperature might be hot there, but look, so much is happening. I finished the last video by saying, what does the Inspector General, usually I think there's one for each state and a federal, knew it was something to do with money, but thank you guys for letting me know. They do RICO. And so this is regarding John Eastman and all those others who were subpoenaed and hauled in last week. So they're on the trail of the money. Now, I hope they've got their rubber gloves on because this is really filthy money. And speaking of filthy money, there's a Dem, he's from Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse, and he's been doing his homework. The money always leads somewhere juicy, doesn't it? Well, it certainly does with the High Court justices. Now, he's been doing the homework here, and there's an organisation called the Judicial Crisis Network. And it sounds like it'd be doing good things, but it's really just a front for, these extreme right-wing goals of reintroducing the Inquisition. You know, it's never too late to have a good Inquisition, punish people for not thinking like you do. So the Judicial Crisis Network, and that's the Freedom Caucus and all that, right? This is where they send their money or part of their money. And it's also known as the Concord Fund. So they, by following the money, he found out that they put up big bucks for 3 justices in particular. One is Gorsuch. They put up 21 million for his nomination campaign. Kavanaugh, 17 million. I bet they shoveled more at that than they thought they'd have to as it got worse and worse. And for the very lovely and maternal Amy Coney Barrett, 14 million. I'm sorry, America, this system that millions of dollars, even though these are the bad guys, etc., millions of dollars for campaigns for High Court judges. They should be chosen for having the best minds and the best ability to put aside their prejudices. That should be the criteria for what we in Australia call a High Court judge. We shouldn't know how they vote, what their religion is. It should not matter. When I say how they vote, I mean as citizens. This ridiculous system, American democracy needs a serious house cleaning, let me tell you. Okay, so questions from you guys. Now that it's out, thanks to Cassidy Hutchinson and others, surprise, surprise, the Yeti knew they were armed. Of course they did. They encouraged them to come with arms, but we have to pretend that this is a surprise, right? And for many Americans, it might be an astonishing surprise. Oh, we knew they were armed. This could benefit those who are doing civil cases against Trump, regardless what else is happening. And I'd imagine that'd be partners of security personnel and so forth. But so how will this, him knowing they were armed, will this help civil cases? Civil suits, let's just broaden it out. Civil suits against Trump, how are they going to go? Civil suits against Trump. Civil suits. He's going to run out of fingers to count his court cases already, you know. Trump's civil suits. Let's look here. They have the angel of light and mercy, the beautiful temperance on their side, right? But they're up against serious forces, of course, in terms of the legal system itself anywhere is slow. And they're going to have to juggle what they're asking for with how much energy and money it is going to take to achieve that outcome. Do you see what I mean? I advise anyone who's going for a compensation claim or anything else like that legal, treat it as a part-time job for 5 years, right? Because this is how long these cases take, 3 to 5 years, hopefully not that long, but probably 2 to 4. So they're considering the trade-off because, you know, at first you want right to be done for your relative or for a person you're advocating for, but you can underestimate how much that is going to drain you. So that is a concern. But what came up here was they're up against the devil card here, El Diablo. It's hard to pull on any of these issues without this coming up, right? But then I'm delighted to report the devil is going to experience the tower and loss and disappointment. Now, the Yeti's no stranger to bankruptcy, right? At the moment, and the rest of this year, basically, he's milking everything he can from his heavily deluded faithful. And I'm sorry, at a certain point, you know, you can't feel sorry for these people if they like him on the one hand because he's such a good businessman and they thought it'd be a good idea to run a country like a failed company, right? They thought that was a good idea. But look, apart from that, if they keep doing it, you know, but there could be court cases by the MAGAs too, because apparently you're haunted and hunted once you have donated or you're on their list, you know, and you tick the wrong box and it's taken out of your bank account and all of that, you know. But you can't save people from themselves. They have to live this out. So another question from you guys was just a minute, long list to them. Justice BREYER has resigned. But first, Ginny Thomas, remember she said, this is what they all do, and it's so overused, it was a joke. Oh, I'd love to come in, not just I agree to come in. When they say, I'd love to come in and talk with you, you know they're not coming. So why that was a surprise to anyone, I have no idea. So I'm not going to bother reading on it. I am going to read on Justice BREYER. He was a Clinton nominee and he retired this week. Why now? Why now? I mean, unless it's a critical health issue, you'd have to think maybe it was. Why did he resign? Who's going to replace him? Oh, 10 of Swords flew out. I'm going to leave that on the table. That might throw some light. Why did he resign so suddenly? Is it a health issue or is there something else? How old is he? What's going on? What's his, has he got a sick wife? What's the story? Justice BREYER. It's a very weird time. Look, I was hoping there'd be something sort of suggesting he wanted to give the Dems a chance to put someone younger in or something like that, but they can't get anyone nominated at this point. You know, this is messy. Now, there's a reason perhaps why none of us have heard of Judge BREYER. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I haven't. Justice BREYER, whatever the proper title is. Under the radar, I think he's been playing a double game for quite some time. The 10 of Swords is caught up with him now. You know, I was just reciting the names of those justices. Don't forget, I'm not saying, no one's saying they got money in their pockets from that. What I am saying is their campaigns were immensely well funded from right-wing theological nutcases, right? Now, here comes this Nine of Cups. Arrogance here. I think he might have accepted a bribe or two. Who am I to say that? That's a dreadful thing to say, Lena. Entertainment purposes only. But I'm not like, then there's the moon. Ooh, yuck. You know, not that the moon isn't lovely under other things, but mysterious circumstances, to say the least. This is a card of emotion, not money, and yet it always crosses into Pentacles. Someone's out to get him, and there's a judgment here. Look, I don't know the man. I don't think anyone knows the man, not with that moon card in that position. Talk about a dark horse. Watch this space is what I'll say. We may never know with that moon card too what it was, but it is extremely mysterious. So I am happy to eat my words if we find out next Tuesday that he's going to care for his very sick wife or something. I'm suspicious, I'm deeply suspicious, and I'm not happy. So if you guys have any theories, please let me know in the comments. There's more to that story, but it's extremely murky. Okay. While we're on murky, Christopher Wray, FBI, look, the FBI, let's face it, even though it has its great, Elliott, Ness sort of identity, it's always been a very mixed bag. Just ask anyone who was involved with the Native American movement in the 70s and 80s, what the FBI did to those individuals and those communities was appalling. So they haven't got a pristine record. But just when they seemed to clean up their act, they got sabotaged by Yeti appointments. And Christopher Wray, let's have a look at him. Why is he still there? You can tell me that too. Maybe there's some reason legally or something that Biden couldn't change him or whatever. Christopher Wray, is he going? What's going to happen with Christopher Wray? Biden has it. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you. These are much clearer than the last cards. Couldn't be clearer. Biden, my King of Cups, he's looking at alternatives as we speak. This is strategically who he's going to replace him with, the new person who will be brought in. It's a question of time and timing. I mean, God knows, active Democrats haven't had a minute to scratch themselves, let alone the President of the United States. So many issues rolling over and into each other. You had that extraordinary testimony. They're not finished yet with the hearings. And I think the wheel will turn and Ray will go. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I also get the vibe with Ray. He started off okay, went to the dark side, then with the change of government, feels a bit guilty about what he said and did under the corrupt Yeti regime. I think he might feel a bit like the people are watching him. I think there's enough good people in the FBI who are watching him like a hawk. And there may be some understanding. You can keep the job now from then, but look, we are watching. Okay, now, Meadows is in hiding. Couldn't be happier. May he disappear altogether. Witness tampering, fake electors. Now, okay, let's have a quick look. Will people be done for witness tampering? Because what constitutes witness tampering? Well, it's a very broad field, isn't it? You know, and as Michael Cohen has pointed out often, you know, this is how the Yeti works. So he talks and thinks like a mob boss who was raised by wolves in Queens, because the thing is with the mob, the traditional mob boss, at least there was a code. However barbaric that code may be to outsiders, it was a code. He's incapable of sticking to a code. So I think he does use that posturing of a mob boss. But you'd have to wonder why. When he lost all the casinos, who loses 3 casinos in Atlantic City? You know, you have to be particularly gifted to do that. And as I understand it, from investigative journalism in Australia, because for those who don't know, Trump applied for a casino license in Australia. Our FBI, our federal police, investigated him and in a matter of weeks said, this guy is not a good character, he doesn't pay his bills, and he's mobbed up to the gills, right? So I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but those were the 3 main things. So it was perfectly apparent then. But here's the kicker. It was after Atlantic City, word has it, that's when the actual mafia ruled a line under him. He inherited the connections from Fred, poison fruit. But nonetheless, that gave him all the connections. To be a real estate mogul in New York, you have to be connected, obviously, right? But he was so appalling and inconsistent and such a wild card and didn't play by anybody's rules. After Atlantic City, they drew a line. They said, no, we're not working with you anymore. So even the mob said he's just too much of a wild card, you know. I mean, he has no fiber. You know, there's no substance. Okay. So what was that? Oh, witness tampering. Okay. Will anybody be done for witness tampering? Will anybody be done for witness tampering? Because that was that whole digression, was because it's done in a not so subtle way. Oh, you know, our friend won't be happy. Code for, you know, anchor tied to your ankles as you dropped overboard 22 miles out from the coast. No. Witness tampering. No. Okay, one more. Money. It never, these people don't do anything unless they get paid for it. It's bizarre. Ah, look. I think this spread is not so much answering my question, will people be done for witness tampering? I think it's, will we find out more about witness tampering? And because the Yeti doesn't send emails, doesn't leave a trail as a rule, underlings have to do it. And this is talking about the underlings. So this is underlings wanting to hold on to their position in this case, in the bosom of the Yeti. That'd be a nice place to be. Ooh, yuck. Hope he wore his deodorant. Yeti deodorant. But it's fool's gold. They took money, because the Queen of Pentacles is here too. They took money for actually doing that thing. Again, we know through Michael Cohen how this worked. That was seen as part of your paid employment was to intimidate people. We've got Three of Swords, broken heart, but I don't know if it's so much broken heart or broken heart because they were caught. Yeah. It's gone quiet on this, but it's going to come back. It's like I was saying right at the beginning of this video, Rico's going to bring them undone. All these other things as opposed to straight out treason and sedition. Don't forget the mystery that is the stained glass window. It's a web. I think once you get, I'm not getting whistleblower cards. I think they're going to be uncovered. They're not going to come forward. But there could be 4 significant cases of it because I got the 4 of Pentacles and the 4 of Swords. So I think there's going to be 4 incidences that will become public. All right. Now there's more questions. Now this is a bit tangential. A viewer has asked, she's from Kansas. The Civil War started in Kansas. Now, her question, will Kansas make history and refuse to change the state constitution, and will they keep abortion legal? Don't know, but I will ask on your behalf, so thank you for the question. Kansas, surprise me. Kansas, will they stand out and keep abortion? Okay, let's go. Well, as these cards were coming down, I went, oh, no, but there's a bit of light here. This is the card I was just describing, holding on to money, but in this case, holding on to values. In other words, there is some concept of holding on to values that are important. I think this is the Nine of Swords. This is people who are caught up in this. You know, those who have just found out they're pregnant and these laws are coming down the pike and so forth. There's a lot of distress in this card. They're evaluating what they're going to do legally about this. So I would say it's not decided yet. I think this is active. So it's not a screaming no, which is what I was expecting. I think this is being talked about. And some people are making the case we need to hold on to these values, because if these values go and we go down the Yeti route, the SCOTUS route, it's a slippery slope. So keep me posted on that. Thank you. Now, it's intriguing because the Jewish community, which obviously isn't a single homogenous thing, there's huge, huge diversity within the Jewish diaspora, within Judaism itself, and different schools of thought and wisdom. So I'm hesitant to say the Jewish community, but nonetheless, there's been vocal pushback from representatives of the Jewish community to the Supreme Court and what they are saying and doing about women. So let's have a look here. The Jewish reaction to the Supreme Court. They have come out. Okay. Oh. All right. Now, I was shuffling the whole time. I was raving, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. The card du jour. And today it keeps meaning the same thing, holding on to values. It's not about the money per se. The next card's about money, but this isn't. It's about, because Pentacles are about our values. Where do we get them? How do we caretake them while we are the interim generation? How do we pass them on? It's really thinking and holding on to ideals that are precious. Now, in the middle of the card, there's some debate about this. I'd say within the Jewish community, but also the broader community. This is the conflict, the circular conflict. It's like a circular firing squad that is the GOP and SCOTUS now, you know. It's the pointless fighting. Okay, so here we have the Six of Pentacles, compromise, charity, looking after others. Let's be typical. I think this is, I'm going to read these cards together because the next one is, it's not quite the same as the Star of David, but it's drawing my attention to that imagery. It's about preserving freedom of religion, because once you define who is going to be an American, and is that going to be defined in such a way as to exclude other religions. So that's very much first and foremost. There is also a very deep issue, which is, as I understand it, within Judaism, and I'm sure not in every tributary of it, but generally speaking, abortion is seen as perfectly all right if the life of the mother is in danger. Her life is really important as a mother in the Judaic tradition. And here's the high priestess with a Torah on her lap. I'll leave you with that thought. Okay. Now, I only mean leave you for that question because there's more. Now, back to Cassidy Hutchinson. I was a bit worried that there'd be criticism of her going, it'll be just hearsay, hearsay. But as you guys pointed out in the comments, thank you. Sometimes you have to get me off the ceiling. Texts and emails are not hearsay, first of all, and she had lots of those to work with. The other thing is, if you are part of a conversation, if you overhear a conversation, it is hearsay. But if you're part of the conversation, it's not hearsay, it's testimony. So if she says, I said to Mark, do this, and Mark said to me, do that, that's testimony, not hearsay. Of course, Yeti lawyers will say it's hearsay, but I just thought that was an interesting legal distinction. So we'll just tap in here on Cassidy. Cassidy Hutchinson, how's she doing? Because she's very, very, very young. How's she doing? Will she be in witness protection? Just check on her little petal, just a quick look in here. They are strategizing how to protect her. I think at this stage, Two of Wands, it's still an active discussion. There's part of her that almost, she's not saying I don't want protection. I don't think she'd say that. But she has had the ultimate come to Jesus moment with this. She was the bright young conservative who should watch that link I sent you last week, you know, you were being lied to. Cassidy, please watch this, although she knows herself. She wants to keep speaking the truth. I don't think she's so freaked out she wants to disappear. I think she's probably been advised to, but I'm not getting that energy from her. I think she was actually horrified at, I think here, this is the Yeti, this is Mark Meadows, all of them. It was such business as usual behaviour when she was coming with this really naive young Republican idea, these are the good guys. I think that shocked her to her core, and she is very smart with this as well. But then the two outcome cards, because she is a baba, bless. The Fool, not that I think she was foolish, I think she's at a new beginning. This is also social media and other things. To a certain extent, her protection lies in being as public as she can be. And I think it's not going to happen just now. Let this blow over. Maybe I'd say next year even. I might be wrong. It might be very soon. But this would suggest to me, not quite yet. She's got to work out what her position, that's the new perspective, what her position is going to be publicly. But I think we're going to see a lot more of Cassidy Hutchinson. That surprised me. I thought she was going to, you know, end up in a cabin in the woods in Vermont or something, but no. Okay. Now we've done Justice by, Ivanka. Really? Okay. So she's been caught out because this documentary, oh look, we can't wait to see the documentary, can we? So it's turned out Jared did the okaying for letting a film crew in doing this documentary. That's another thing in itself. Why did Jared do it? But look, that might come up in Ivanka's cards. The point being, the Yeti is such a narcissist with a capital N. If there's a camera there, he is such a media slut that he can't help himself. And so they did this right through and up to January 6th. It's astonishing. Anyway, can't wait to see the footage. The problem for Ivanka is in the footage, she's shown apparently, I only have this by secondhand sources, of course, at this point, she's agreeing with her toxic father. Yes, the election was stolen. Now, and then, of course, she testified that I trust Mr. Barr. You know, I'm not going to say anything that's really straightforward because I'm so used to talking like this that no one listens to what I have to say. So it's kind of surprising, you know, that you all want to listen because I normally just lie behind closed doors. That's where I'm happiest. So there's this contradiction between the private and the public Ivanka. It wouldn't be the first contradiction, I'm sure. So what's happening with Ivanka right now? Let's just dip in to finish today. Oh, I can't believe this Four of Pentacles. Oh my God. Oh, wow, you know, here you go. The card again, the Four of Pentacles turned up again. Now it's shifting to another interpretation, which is, I think, and I've been saying this for 3 years, maybe 4, maybe 5, she's planning to leave the country with or without her very strange husband. This is saving money. I've asked what's happening with Ivanka now, not this particular issue. And she's getting money from every source humanly possible. I mean, short of melting down her mother's wedding ring, she's hauling it all in. Now she gets the Magician and the Hangman. I think this is, she also gets the Queen of Cups. So the Magician, I think she has some, we talk about magic bullets or magic this or magic that. I think she has what she thinks is her magic escape. There's a bit of a Houdini magician sort of thing with this actual image of the magician, you know, under the cape. Oh, look, oh, gone. She thinks she has it all nailed. But speaking of being nailed, she can't do it just yet. I'm not quite sure why she can't. There could be, well, there could be a lot of reasons. That's another, maybe a clarifier on this, but she can't do her disappearing act right now. Queen of Cups, I think it's something to do with the children. Yeah, so whether they go to Israel or whether they go to the Costa del Sol or whether they move around a lot, I'm sure that's on their agenda. But there's something to do, it could be the mothers, it could be something to do with Ivana, her own mother. It could be to do, is Jared's mother still with us? Could be to do with her, or could be to do with the children. It's an emotional issue within the family. And it could be that one or both of those women are going, you can't take our grandchildren, you know, we'll never see them again, or something. There's something to do with children that is holding her up. Okay. Oh, on the last note, there's a new term out. Oh, it's new to me. Christian in name only. And there's some discussion. So Christian in name only, C-I-N-O. Is it pronounced Chino or Sino? I prefer Chino. So I think I'm going to adopt that expression. You'll know now what I'm talking about when people are Chinos, you know, because this has nothing to do with true Christianity and the teachings of Jesus Christ. This is all to do about Revelations, the belly of the beast, Apocalypse Now. It's so Old Testament use and abuse of this language. Okay, so in further housekeeping news, I've just finished a video and that was with Tony from Shining Hawk, and that was great. And there was Adrian Red Lentil Healing, Tony herself, Sienna, my co-author on the new cards that are coming out in October, and Johnny, and we had a lot of deep questions there. And tomorrow I'm off to the bush, but the people I'm staying with have assured me they've got Wi-Fi, so I should be able to keep making videos, but I'll be deep in the heart of the Australian bush. So bye for now. Ciao, ciao.